productive meeting with ministry staff. We covered issues as simple as the improper or incomplete line paving on the 21st on the highway, where it looks like somebody might have had a drink before they started with the paintbrush, and also the poor paving off Taylor Way. But we also discussed the long-term transportation planning and just putting our oar in the water that we really need to be addressing this for any movement on densification as the Minister of Housing wishes. So a good meeting, and I just wanted to share that with you. And I'll now ask for a motion to approve the agenda. Councillor Snyder, please.
Just before I do that, is there a slight amendment to the?
Nope.
Are those changes?
No, I think we're going to do that.
Deal with that out. Okay, then very good. Thank you. Then I'd like to recommend that the February 9th, 2026 regular council meeting agenda be approved as circulated.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson.
Second.
Thank you. Question, all in favor? Contrary carried. By the way, regrets this evening from Councillor Watt. She is unable to join us for rather serious personal issues. Item number 3, we have a delegation. Councillor Thompson, would you like to make the introduction?
Yes, I'd like to welcome Representative Margaret Rudolph, the Honorary Consul for Slovenia and West Vancouver resident. You've been doing a lot of good work for a very long time. We look forward to your presentation.
Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much. And is my mic on? Yes. I would like to start by thanking Councillor Thompson for enabling this meeting to happen. And Mayor Sager, thank you very much, and councillors for the time. I would like to start by giving you an overview and a reason why I'm here today. There are several of us from the BC Consular Corps who are actual residents of West Vancouver. And it occurred to me, you might not know what we do or why we're here and how we can serve the public. So the intention today is to say, who are we? We are British Columbia Consular Corps, and we are about almost 90 of us here, serving British Columbia, and some of us serve Alberta, Yukon, and Northwest Territories. Half of us are honoraries. The other half are career consuls, who generally have a posting of about 3 to 4 years. And the whole Corps is led by an executive committee, and each of us are vetted and we're checked by police, RCMP, the government. So we're very careful as to who we are. And so what do we do? Well, we're here to promote our countries, obviously. We're here to help our nationals, be it for good reasons or sad reasons, criminality or promotion, businesses, delegations. We promote tourism, technology, culture. For example, my little country worked with the Museum of Anthropology, MOA, and we actually had a presentation of our national masks. So that's just an example of what we do on the nice side. We do administration, we issue passports, visas, certifications. In many cases, we who are honoraries do not do that work. We work with our embassies to make sure there's a quick turnaround. But many of the career consuls who are here today, some of us, and I will point them out after my presentation, do that kind of work. But we have the ability to make things happen quickly. We can turn around issues probably within 24 hours if there's a lost passport. So in terms of the career consuls, we have consuls general, we have consuls and consular agents. And as I was saying earlier, we're nominated by the host government, quite a deep security check. And often for career consuls, it could be a nice step to becoming an ambassador. So honoraries like myself. Okay. Okay. It more or less are the words of my presentation. So what we do is we issue help to nationals, and we do very similar work to our Career Council colleagues, but what we do not have is a budget and staff. So often we go around looking for partnerships or seeing if we can get access to a conference hall, and certainly we are there to promote our cultures. For example, Harmony Fest. Slovenia had a nice kiosk. Some of you went there this summer. Romania was represented. And it's a fun way to show off the country, show what we're doing. So I'm clicking and it is not going on, but that's okay. Not a problem. What I'd like to do is to introduce some of my colleagues who found the time to come here tonight. It's Helen Rubio, who represents Laos. Helen?
Thank you.
Costa Rica Honorary Consul is Antonio Arriaga Valdez.
There we are.
And Switzerland is Assistant Consul General Silvana Rengli Frey.
Thank you.
And from Philippines is the acting head of post, Paul Vincent Hui. And for Korea, Assistant Consul General Chang. So I'm quite grateful they're here to support our presentation.
May I just say we're honored that you've taken the time to join us this evening. All of you, thank you very much.
And we are honored to be here, and we'd like to invite you to think of us if you have a celebration or reception. We'd happily come and share and help out. And vice versa, I'd like to make sure that you're all on our invitation list. So next time we have a big event, please come and join us. And let's just get to know each other. And I'll be quite brief, and I'll thank you for listening.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for being part of the community. It's wonderful. Councillor Thompson. Oh, sorry, Councillor Gambioli, would you like?
I just wanted to say this is very interesting and, you know, really news to me that you're all here in the community. It's fantastic to know. Did I hear you say that you're looking to sort of coordinate with space? Did you say earlier?
We're always
Or-
looking for a way to share our culture or promote, you know, in a good way. Often people, I have friends who are going to Slovenia, for example, they want to know more about like cycle paths, hiking, so forth. On the more serious side, like Switzerland, Korea, certainly they're very, very important business interests. So what we're looking for is to have our visibility, and just to let you know that there are quite a few of us who are actual residents here
Right.
without addresses. I know Switzerland, Romania, myself, Estonia, Costa Rica, and several others, Greece, for example. Italy was once here too. You know, again, not the issue of giving out residences, but we are part of your community. We live here with you.
That is really interesting when I haven't even had time to think about all the possibilities of coordinating, but there's a lot of cultural sort of connections that I think we could make. And actually the gal sitting just behind you to your right, Ms. Niedermeyer, might want to put your hand up. She is our head of arts and culture programming. And I think that we also have a brand new database of all the spaces available in the community for meetings and events and things that is searchable, that's just gone online. And I think that that might be a great conduit. Maybe the two of you should talk later.
Thank you.
Thank you. And when you walk out, if you look down into what I call the piazza, the space, just on the left-hand side out, that is a beautiful community space that is available for organizations such as yourselves to host community meetings, and
Thank you. I will take you up on that.
please.
And a little partisanship, if you are interested in Slovenia, I do have some handouts, but I'll leave it up to you.
Excellent. Please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson, please.
Well, I've certainly enjoyed engaging with Ms. Rudolph over many years now, a fierce advocate. And I do think it's incredibly interesting. It's something that we think we might know about, But for you to qualify your role and presence in our community, I think is really helpful. So thank you for taking the time and introducing our residents here right under us. So with that, I'll make a motion and recommend, excuse me, the delegation from Margaret Rudolph, Honorary Consul for Slovenia and West Vancouver resident regarding the BC Council Courts overview function, West Vancouver resident consuls and consulates be received for information with thanks and gratitude.
Thank you, Councillor Snyder. Thank you. Any other discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary carried. Again, thank you so much for
Thank you
coming this
very
evening and to your colleagues. Thank you. Now an item which we've all been looking forward to discussing, the Glen Eagles Youth Facility and Pickleball Courts. This started last fall and there's been lots of community input and it's nice to see it back in front of council. I think we'll begin with a presentation from Jill Lawler, who is our Senior Manager of Parks. Ms. Lawler, please.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Sager. I'm here this evening in response to the Glen Eagles Youth Facility and Pickleball Courts. During our presentation last June to council on the Glen Eagles Adventure Park site, council asked staff to explore the feasibility of building pickleball courts across the street on the BC Hydro land, across the street from the Glen Eagles Community Center. You can see this highlighted in the red triangle shape. Staff have worked with BC Hydro over several months, and the fence line is the green dotted line there that exists currently right now. BC Hydro requires a 10-meter setback, which will take us to line 1. The red shaded area here also indicates a right-of-way that is at BC Hydro and Fortis. If you look down, here's a picture of what the site looks like from the street. And if you look down at the little picture below, it says site section 1. That aligns with line number 1. So you can see that there'd be a person there. They're roughly 3 meters above the road, and they're looking up towards the hill. If we move to site line number 2 and number 3, you can see that there is a bedrock wall that meets the person that's standing here, which makes it a challenging site to build on. This would require removal of this bedrock wall and the feasibility. Based on this assessment, staff have determined that it's more feasible to locate the 3 pickleball courts and complementary skate amenities within the Glen Eagles Adventure Park site. However, we will continue to explore the feasibility of constructing a pump track on these lands. The revised concept plan for the Glen Eagles Adventure Park site includes 3 pickleball courts constructed to Pickleball BC's recommended new construction dimensions of 34 by 64 feet. This matches the court side at the Ambleside Park. The plan also includes new street style skateboarding area, along with upgrades to the existing skate bowl. The layout provides for 2 pickleball courts in the north-south orientation and 1 in the east-west. This supports good site circulation. The pickleball courts would replace the existing bike terrain park. The social patio space would be located between the 2 north-south pickleball courts and the dedicated pedestrian walkway between the pickleball and skateboarding areas. Through the design build process, efforts will be made to mitigate sound between the sports. The street style skateboarding area will allow all wheeled activities, and the design lends itself to creating both a beginner and advanced areas. This will allow progression and transition using the new street style skateboarding area as a stepping stone into the skateboarding bowl. While the BC Hydro lands are not suitable for the construction of pickleball courts, they are potentially well suited for a paved pump track that weaves its way through the existing trees, creating a shaded park-like setting. The facility would provide a replacement for the existing bike terrain park that will be displaced, offering a more durable, low maintenance, and inclusive amenity that can accommodate a wider range of ages and skill level. There's roughly $527,000 in funding available for this project. If additional funding is required, staff will return to council to seek approval. Subject to council's approval, staff will proceed with a design build to construct the 3 pickleball courts and street style skateboarding area at the Glen Eagles Adventure Park. We'll also include a feasibility assessment and order of magnitude cost estimates for full, partial, and lighting options, full, partial, and roof and lighting options. The existing skateboard bowl would also be repainted. Staff will continue to explore the feasibility of constructing a pump track across the street. The timeline for this project is to initiate the design build RFP preparation now. The evaluation and award between February and April, the post design and review April to June, starting construction in June and July of this year, with an estimated public opening of October and November. This follows a similar timeline to the construction of the Ambleside pickleball courts. I would also like to say a large thank you to both the skateboard and pickleball community who have been engaged in this process and helping us navigate this. The recommendations on the screen.
Thanks very much. Has anyone signed up that wishes to address council this evening?
Yes, Mayor Sager, we have, I think, 8 or 9 names for this item.
Thank you. And the first, please.
Great. The first name on the list for this item is Esta Parg Murenbild, followed by Shelley Marquardt.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
And thank you for having me. I'm the president of the North Shore Pickleball Club, and I'm here to do 4 things. I want to reintroduce the North Shore Pickleball Club to you, comment on the design of the 3 pickleball courts for Glen Eagles, suggest to you where your money might have the most impact, and fourthly, to invite you to consider a partnership to build a pickleball center. To begin with, we are quiet collaborators. We work with the Roundtable and your park staff, and hence I want to reintroduce ourselves. Myself and my West Vancouver committee have been at the table from the beginning of the Ambleside courts, the Normanby courts, the Hugo Ray courts, and now the Glen Eagles courts. And with another local team, I've been party to 14 new courts in the district of North Vancouver. We are many, many West Vancouver residents. Last week, I emailed 297 recent members of the North Shore Pickleball Club who live in West Vancouver. And our members give back to this community. Our volunteers have taught pickleball to hundreds, if not thousands of kids and teachers in your schools over the last 5 years. With respect to the design of the pickleball courts at Glen Eagles, we want to say that Parks has done a commendable job of marrying the needs of the different sports in this very small space. And pickleball players are really pleased that the courts are full-sized and not compromised for playability or for safety. The Glen Eagles community will be particularly pleased as this was a priority location for them, as shown by our survey that we did last year. There are already 3 courts in the gym for year-round play, and this adds a lot of capacity for players in that area. It should be noted, however, that the cost to you per court is somewhat higher than at Ambleside. And our question is, should you be spending even more money looking at a roof design, which is the number 3 recommendation? The majority of West Vancouver players that we surveyed said this area was not the priority for them. Ambleside was. So how do you get the most value for your pickleball dollars? Back in 2007, this is how long ago, it was West Vancouver was the first local community to host pickleball in its gyms. And more recently, it was the first to build full-size quality courts. It's now 19 years later, and pickleball is no longer an emerging sport. It's here, and it's roaring. There are 15 courts now at the Capilano Mall, charging $30 per person for 2 hours of play. So when we asked about priorities, the vast majority of West Vancouver respondents said they wanted more courts at Ambleside. Why? Because more courts means shorter waiting times, and a single person is more likely to be included. West Vancouver needs a center with 8 to 12 more courts, a grouping that you can cover to provide much more winter play. And that's how you're going to get the most value for your pickleball dollars. The Cap Mall lease is for only 5 years. You have 5 years to get that Ambleside study done.
That's your time, ma'am.
And North Shore Pickleball has serious people with serious money and is offering to discuss partnerships for this pickleball center. So thank you for your time.
Well, thank you very much, and we're very grateful for your help, your input throughout this process. Thank you.
Right.
Hi there, my name is Shelley Marquardt and I play pickleball. And I play it during the winter, the summer, and I've noticed that there's 17 pickleball courts in West Vancouver currently. And you want to add 3 more. I am extremely disappointed in this proposal. When I left the last meeting, there was going to be 2 pickleball courts. We were going to keep the pump track, and we were also, of course, going to keep the skateboard bowl. I think that the pickleball courts are excessive, and I am absolutely disappointed in this absolute turnaround of this. Now, as far as it going on the other side, I didn't hear when that would happen, but most importantly, the safety of the children. Why would they be on the other side of the road when their parents are skateboarding and playing pickleball? Or their grandma and grandpa are playing pickleball on the other side? Do not put that pump track on the other side. That's ridiculous. Why should the children have to wait? And furthermore, there's only 1 pump track. And I repeat, 17 pickleball courts, and I'm there playing, and there's always time for me to play. They're often empty. Ask me, I play at Ambleside. Follow me around if you want proof. I play with groups. That's all I have to say. 3 more is excessive. The thing is keep the 2, which is what we discussed. Put that pump track back for those poor children. It's the only one in all of West Vancouver. Thank
Thanks
you
very
very
much.
much, everyone.
Thank you for your input. Thank you. The next speaker,
The next
please.
speaker is Eric Lawrence, followed by Owen Hogg.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for your time. My name is Eric Lornock, and I'm a tax-paying resident of West Vancouver, and I live on Wellington Avenue, just a few minutes walk from Glen Eagles Adventure Park. Over the past several years, our neighborhood has experienced a significant demographic shift. Nearly every home sale has brought young families with children. The presence of youth in our community is undeniable. Halloween alone is a clear demonstration of how many children live within the distance of the park. It's virtually impossible to drive down my street. I'm here this evening representing my neighborhood and the demographic Glen Eagles Adventure Park was originally designed to serve. Like many parents and park users in this community, I work full-time and care for my family, including my 7-month-old son. I learned about this meeting only 3 hours ago through social media. I suspect that it's also the case for most of the park's primary user group, families with young children, parents working full-time, and residents who cannot realistically monitor council agendas to catch last-minute meetings concerning the future of their only outdoor extreme recreational space. An observably stark contrast to the older pickleball demographic who have the time to monitor general meeting agendas and show up to these meetings in large numbers, vastly skewing council's understanding of community needs at in-person meetings. When I saw that the latest proposal once again ignored the community's clearly stated request for a pump track within the park boundaries, I reached out to the neighbors within my limited time. Unfortunately, residents were not able to attend due to work, caring for their family, etc. Glen Eagles Adventure Park was created as a safe space for local youth to practice extreme sports. Our community is effectively cut off from the rest of North Shore with access limited to the highway or Marine Drive. Neither provide a safe sidewalk route for children. As a result, Glen Eagles must remain as an extreme sports park as it was designed to be. There's no safe or independent way for our youth in this area to reach facilities such as Ambleside or Squamish. The most recent proposal fails to address the concerns raised by the community at the previous meetings. It places pickleball courts directly on top of the existing mountain bike area with no meaningful replacement for the space being removed. Since its creation, the dirt jump and bike skills area have received minimal maintenance. Technical bridge features have been gradually removed without replacement, and dirt jumps have deteriorated into gravel mounds. The limited work completed last summer amounted to basic raking, weed removal. Despite this neglect, the space continues to be used. Daycare kids run up and down the lumps. After school recreation groups use the space for outdoor learning. A pump track with beginner to advanced segments would be a reasonable compromise. I've got to speed up here. I'm running out of time.
No, keep going. Don't be too
Thank you,
worried about
sir. I
the clock.
appreciate it. Thank you. A pump track with beginner to advanced segments would be a reasonable and inclusive compromise. It would allow mountain bikers and BMX riders to continue participating or continue practicing their dirt jump skills while making the park more accessible to families and users of all abilities and all extreme sports disciplines. Once built, a pump track requires virtually no maintenance and will bring our community together. Glen Eagles Elementary School kids can get from school to the park in 45 seconds, 30 if you're running. I'd be running. Importantly, the pump track must be located within the existing park boundaries to be effective. This allows parents and advanced riders to remain close to younger users, enabling supervision, instruction, and safe progression. Separating skill levels by relocating the pump track to the proposed BC Hydro lot creates safety concerns and risks becoming another unused space due to poor planning. Don't rip apart the park users. Aren't we trying to unify our youth and get them outside and off screens? Glen Eagles Adventure Park should remain dedicated to the user groups it was designed for. If pickleball courts are needed, they should be developed in a separate, purpose-built location. In West Vancouver, the extreme sports community has only 2 outdoor extreme sports facilities in the summer, Glen Eagles and Ambleside. There are no pump tracks, the closest being on Lonsdale or in Squamish. Based on district bylaws, it is illegal for youth to practice these sports on public streets or parking lots. By comparison, the pickleball community currently has access to 4 dedicated courts at Ambleside, 4 courts at Normandy Park, shared courts with tennis at Benbow, Chairlift, Whitecliff, and Cypress Park School. 2 indoor courts with permanent lines at West Vancouver Community Centre, 3 additional indoor courts at Glen Eagles Community Centre on scheduled days, respectively. That is a total of more than a dozen courts across the district.
I'm going to get in trouble
it's
with my
17.
colleagues here.
I'm almost done, I'm sorry.
Okay.
If additional pickleball space is required, the proposed BC Hydro lot would allow the sport to have its own dedicated area without dismantling an existing youth facility. When indoor courts at Glen Eagles Community Centre are unavailable, players can walk across the street or drive to one of the other 12 courts in West Vancouver. It is also important to consider the increased noise generated by pickleball. Being located within the adventure park, the loud pop of the pickleball would impact the local fire hall staff trying to sleep before night shifts and golfers focusing to tee off within 100 meters. I respectfully ask council to support the growing number of youth and families in our neighborhood, a demographic that truly has nowhere else to go. Please do not dismantle this unique space. Instead, reinvest in it, improve it, and revitalize it for the users it was built to serve. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, sir.
The next speaker on the list is Owen Hogg, followed by Melinda Slater.
I'm sorry, I missed the gentleman's name.
Owen Hogg.
Hello, sir. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Hi, my name is Owen. I've lived on the North Shore for 14 years, residing on Mathers Avenue for 1 year. Thanks for giving the community opportunities to provide feedback on how our shared spaces are used. I appreciate the consideration given to the residents who want a place to go skateboarding, scootering, and BMXing. I'm glad to see that there's a common understanding about the importance of the diversity of community spaces where people can gather to live healthy, active lifestyles and learn new skills. In my personal experience, going from somebody who's never skateboarded transition to a competent intermediate rider, I found the Glen Eagles facility excellent and very well suited for my needs. I've also had other friends learn to ride at this location, and I'm currently teaching my girlfriend to skateboard here. It has a reputation amongst our friend group for being an ideal place for beginner riders. Furthermore, in my experience, the bowl does get used on a regular basis when weather permits. A wide variety of people, from parents with small children during midday to teenagers in the afternoons, to young working professionals such as myself, ride early in the mornings before work. We usually arrive in 2s and 3s spread throughout the course of the day. It may sometimes be difficult to see us with casual observation when walking or driving by. Many riders don't air out over the edge of the bowl, and we might choose to congregate in the shade of the trees when resting. I can see how this might give the impression of it being underutilized without performing more than a cursory inspection of the
Sir, can I
facility.
just ask just a quick clarification? The proposal that's before council tonight is to actually enhance and improve the bowl, not remove it.
Yes, no, I'm aware.
Okay. you're
Yeah, no,
aware of
I'm just
that.
trying to reiterate the importance of this position because I understand that a lot of the people who might exist in the action sports community don't often participate in these kind of settings.
True.
I hope I'm not getting too far off track.
No, it's okay. No, I just wanted to make sure everyone understood because there was a lot of controversy last fall when there was a suggestion to remove the bowl. And the recommendation staff have brought forward tonight is to actually enhance the bowl, not remove it.
Yes, I'm aware of that. Yeah, no,
Thank
I
you.
do have commentary on that. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to find my spot here. Yeah, 2s and 3s, riders, Gerson, oh yeah. So I believe the layout of the facility as it stands achieves all the goals outlined in the original report. Removing the proposed pump track would not only be an unnecessary expense, but it would fall short of many of those same goals. If I were to suggest improvements to the current bowl, as the report indicates there's a willingness from the municipality to invest in the space, they would be as follows. A structure covering the bowl to protect the surface from the rain. This would allow for year-round use. People would know no matter what when they show up that they'll be able to ride. Right now, on any wet or overcast day, it's a bit of roll of the dice to know if you'll actually be able to use the facility. Lights for more riding during the winter months. Sunrise, sunset can be like 8 to 4 p.m. kind of in the winter. So if I'm trying to go before or after work, I might not actually be able to use the facility safely with its current design. Yeah, the bowl's a regular part of my routine during the summer months. I'll ride there 4 times a week when going to the gym. I've met people there from Toronto to California who currently, whenever I talk to them, they say this is an excellent facility. You're very lucky to have it here. They have something positive about how picturesque it is being in the trees, how good the atmosphere is. And I agree with them that this is a great place. Our community is a valid part of the municipality, and just because we are underrepresented in circles where decisions get made does not make us any less collaborative, supportive, or worthy of consideration. I sincerely hope that my feedback and that of others is taken seriously. I believe that the addition of the new pickleball courts doesn't have to come at the expense of the pump track and the expense of creating yet another cherished space for so many people. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The next speaker is Melinda Slater, followed by Ed Pilak.
Ms. Slater, thanks for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me. I'll try and make this quick. Melinda Slater, 1058 Keith Road. And I understand that while I'm grateful to be finally moving ahead with installing courts at Glen Eagles, some of our local pickleball community are not happy with the proposed design. This design places a skateboard street park directly beside all 3 courts, which raises concerns about noise, distraction, and overall quality of play. However, there was an alternative layout suggested by 2 residents who are both experienced pickleball players and have construction backgrounds, and one has even built a couple of pickleball courts before. And their design would have the street skate park area impact only 1 court instead of all 3, and would have had all 3 courts situated in the preferred north-south orientation. I gather this option would make the court slightly smaller than the tournament size dimension recommended by Pickleball BC, but I understand the actual area of play would still be the standard size. It's just the area of the court, surrounding the court that would be reduced. And I gather that some of the local players have said that the tournament size court's not necessary at this location. And this is a neighborhood recreational facility, and playability should matter more than meeting a standard we don't actually need. But this situation highlights a bigger issue, and that's our community is full of people with valuable expertise who are willing to volunteer their time. But it seems the district doesn't really have much interest in utilizing that expertise. The Pickleball Advisory Roundtable has no mandate or terms of reference, and minutes are not taken, and some of the people on that roundtable don't even play pickleball. Yet highly qualified residents who applied to serve on the advisory roundtable were not selected, and 2 of those same residents later came up with an alternative design that better addresses user concerns. So I would just urge you to approve construction of the Glen Eagles courts, but also ensure that community expertise and input is genuinely considered in decisions like these. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Slater.
The next speaker is Ed Pilak, followed by Rose Betts.
Thank you, Mr. Pilak. Thanks for joining us this evening.
My name is Ed Pilak. I've been a resident of West Vancouver for the last 36 years. This is Lynn Palmer.
Thank you,
And-
Ms. Palmer. Thanks for joining us this evening.
West Van Players is asking mayor and council to approve the park's design build proposal for pickleball courts. Our group is very enthusiastic about constructing 3 courts at Glen Eagles. We need pickleball courts in the western part of the district. Most importantly, Glen Eagles is the only location where pickleball courts can be situated. We've looked, Parks looked, the Round Table have looked for other locations, and this is the one that works. These courts will be extremely popular and well used by all ages. As staff are aware, we do have concerns about putting the street style skateboarding area directly alongside pickleball courts. At Mahon Park in North Vancouver, pickleball players complain about noise and visual distractions of skateboarders banging and crashing beside them. We also believe these courts will be so popular that a larger waiting and seating area will be needed. We look forward to collaborating with Parks on how to mitigate these concerns during design review process. West Van Players is also excited about Parks' request to examine the feasibility and cost for full and partial roof and lighting options. Covered courts will help greatly to meet the increasing demand for court time throughout the year. We look forward to the mayor and council approval of Parks' request so that this project can be underway as soon as possible. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Pilak, and thanks for all of the time that you've personally given to go and look and investigate every location. I've enjoyed your company.
Mayor, you came with us, so you're
Yeah.
really helping pickleball. We really appreciate the time and effort that you've put into it as well.
Thank you, Mr. Pilak.
Thank you, Mayor Sager. I was informed Rose Betts does not wish to speak at this time. The next name on the list is Ryan Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much, Mayor and Council. Nice to see everybody again. It's been a few months. I hope everybody's been well in this time. I actually wrote something this time, so it'll be a little less awkward. I only said a little less, though. All right, so thank you once again. Hello, I'm Ryan. I am the BMX rider and former Glen Eagles employee who started the petition to save the bowl last March. Through much community outreach, media involvement, and a huge effort from this skate park's many users, I believe that we have proved beyond any doubt that it is a very loved, well-used local amenity that should not be removed. Do not remove the skateboard bowl at Glen Eagles Community Center.
I think you've won that.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's nice to hear. Thank you. Moving forward, on the West Vancouverite survey, I went on the record as favoring a proposal that featured the bowl remaining with the outlying areas being pickleball courts. This proposal illustrates that idea, so I am in favor of this proposal. This is a compromise, though. I strongly believe that the people of the region, who I spoke to in very large numbers, would like to see this area remain dedicated to extreme sports. If you're going to redevelop the area, it should be just for skateboarding. Those dilapidated dirt jumps, believe it or not, as bad as they look, they get ridden every day. Parents are walking by with their kids, and it could be for 2 to 5 minutes, and they're ripping on those little jumps. It is. But this is the compromise, of course. I am happy to offer this compromise and work with all potential park users in this space. In the time since we've last met, I have met many Horseshoe Bay residents at the park and have discussed this matter on all sides. And it's been very informative, and I'm very thankful for the time that the people of West Vancouver have given me during this, because we all really love this place and want to see good things get done here. So yeah, I think we can all come together as a community for the betterment of the district of West Vancouver. And part of that will be through passing this new proposal. Thank you very much to everybody.
Thank you. And you do certainly get credit for
Thank
bringing
you.
to council's attention how much people do appreciate and love that bowl, and how much better it's going to be now that.
I think for everyone, I think we can do
If
something really
council
good here.
approves this, there will be
Of course.
improvements to that bowl. So it's a positive, but thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I have two more names on the list, Mayor Sager, Corey Walsh, followed by Evan Tancredi.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Thank you for joining us this evening, sir.
So I would like to first state and start off with, I found out this meeting about an hour ago, and I've never publicly speaked on behalf of anything like this before, so I apologize if anything seems not up to me being as acknowledged as I should be on this.
Sir, don't worry.
Okay. all right.
Enjoy. Thank you for being
right.
here.
I'll give you a little background on myself. I'm a professional BMX rider. This is my full-time job. I traveled around the world, like basically creating video content with a lot of different diverse groups of people and stuff. And I moved to Vancouver in 2012, and I have been riding this skate park ever since. Unfortunately, I was traveling so much last year, I didn't get to make it here a lot for the meetings trying to protect this bowl. So I appreciate everything Ryan has done for this facility. I can't even begin to express how important this skate park is for my community all around the world. So there's something about me wanting to really protect this space that we have and then add more and try to excel it based off of what I've seen through so many different diverse people everywhere. I could not tell you this is basically it's top 5 skate parks for a lot of people in the world. So this is a park that was built in the mid 2000s that is kind of stand the test of time, and it is a high level facility. So this being said, I think that we need to seriously embrace these situations and these places, and instead of therefore relocating it for something else, adding to it and helping this community. Just at this skate park last year, I was with a filming crew. I ride for a brand called Odyssey BMX. We brought a crew. We were here for 10 days. One of this person, she won a silver medal at the Olympics. So you have Olympians coming to this facility to use your parks that are out. And I couldn't even tell you growing up the amount of people I've seen this skate park being used. So I really just want my point to be like having a pump track in this space. I grew up on the BMX racing. We use pump tracks a lot and stuff like that. And having these spaces together to ride the pump track, to ride the skate park all as one, and to be together as a community has shaped my entire life and now my career. So I just really want to show you guys how important this is. Like I kind of rushed here out of nowhere just to show like this space, what it means to a lot of us. I know there's a lot of other people that would like to be here too. And the pump track being in the same facility, and thank you guys for adding more and saving the bowl, which I'm just finding out about. So having the pump track in this facility in the same area, keeping this community strong is very important. And I know a lot of the time these spaces seem like dead zones where they don't get used a lot. They get vandalized by graffiti, stuff like this. These spaces are still very important to our communities. And I'll even go to say saved people's lives. Okay. This is a subculture sport that has done a lot, and this community takes care of each other. And then having the youth and high excelled, let's say Olympic athletes all together at one serves a huge purpose for your community as well.
Thank you very much, sir. The proposal that is before council tonight, we do appreciate that life has compromises, and if council approves this plan tonight, the staff are working with Hydro to actually create a much bigger and better pump track. Yes, it's across the street, but it is actually an area significantly better, I think.
Okay. I also just want to be advocating for putting like even the possibility, like I know a bunch of these other people are talking about roofs for their facility. We have absolutely nothing in any of the lower mainland that is a covered facility that has not been, we have a couple that have been built by the communities. So even opening up something like that for this skate park could be a huge benefit, because this is just something I'm hearing now. And I apologize for my ignorance, but I just really want you guys to know that the things that can be put towards these communities are really, people are grateful for. And it could be something to excel you guys to something that hasn't been done before. So
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Thanks very much.
All right.
And the last speaker
The
on the
last name on the
subject.
list is Evan Tancredi.
Thank you. I didn't. Sorry, I didn't get the gentleman's last name. Mr.
Tancredi.
Tancredi, thanks for joining us, sir.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me, council and staff. Jill, appreciate it. I was not planning on speaking today. I was just coming to support. I've met with some of you I haven't met with, but I'm just gonna add kind of to what Corey was saying. So I'm in a similar boat as him. I don't BMX, I skateboard. I'm not professional yet. I'm working on it, but I do travel the world and compete and film and ride for a variety of different international brands. I just got back from California. I'm going to Tokyo at the beginning of next month. So it's a very real part of my life. But I'm not really here to talk about myself. I'm just here to talk about what he was talking about, the impact of these spaces on the youth. And I know I'd like to also thank you guys. I know that this proposal is going forward with the street section and all that. But I just want to touch on the importance too of like the community and kind of what has allowed me to do what I do. Was Lonsdale Skate Park, which was just up where the new Harry-Drome is being built, as I'm sure all of you know. And that ended up getting basically torn out. And there was lots of different pieces in place as to why that happened. And I'm not complaining, but that community was completely displaced. And it honestly, like the whole community in North Van took a huge hit. BMXers, scooters, skateboarders, all of those people. So I think it's really important to keep these spaces and not take them away, because that's kind of been the recurring theme in Greater Vancouver for a long time. So yeah, I don't have much more to add, but just that I think what you guys are doing is great, and it's the right move to make a compromise for both groups. And if you go to any skate park in North Van, West Van that is currently built and still standing, sorry, you'll see people of all different ages, all different races. Everybody's enjoying the space and making kind of the most of it. And yeah, I didn't write anything, so sorry for the ramble, but
No.
thank you for the time.
Listen, we're very grateful for your input. And I would like to say on behalf of all of us on council, to everybody here tonight who has been involved in this process, and to our staff, to Ms. Lawler, she really has done an excellent job.
She's done an
I believe
amazing job,
she's
yes.
done an amazing job.
Yeah.
And perhaps the only thing, Mr. Pilak, maybe you should start branding pickleball as an extreme sport. Thank you, sir.
Thank
you. Is there anyone further? And hearing none, I'll turn it over to Councillor Cassidy if you would like to make a motion, please. If everyone has the motion, is it up on the screen? No, I think it should be read in.
All right. Be delighted to read it. It is recommended that the January 25th, 2026 report titled Gleneagles Youth Facilities and Pickleball Courts from the Senior Manager Parks be received for information. 2, a design-built request for proposal be issued with the previously allocated funds available in the amount of $527,710 to A, design and construct 3 pickleball courts that are constructed to Pickleball BC's recommended dimensions of 34 feet by 64 feet and a street-style skateboarding area. B, repaint the skate bowl at the Gleneagles Adventure Park. And C, obtain a feasibility assessment and order of magnitude cost estimates for full and partial roof and lighting options. Number 3, if the tendered bids for the design-built request for proposal exceed the allocated funding of $527,710, will staff return to council to request additional funding from the Community Amenity Contribution, Community Serving Fund. And 4, staff continue to explore the feasibility of constructing a pump track on the BC Hydro lands across from the Gleneagles Community Centre and report back to council at a future date.
Thank you very much, Councillor Thompson, please.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Snyder.
Just a couple of comments. First of all, I just wanted to comment on those that spoke and have spoken for the first time here at a council meeting. There's no right or wrong way to present and speak at council meeting. It's just very important that you actually get out and share your views and opinions. So please don't ever have hesitation coming up and presenting and speaking to council on matters, because that's what we're that's what we want to hear, is we want to hear what those in the community have to say. And that, I do believe we have taken that very seriously into consideration for this project over the last year and a half. We have been going through this many, many times. It has come back, it has gone away, it has come back, and we've really, Ms. Lawler and her team have really done a great job of looking at all the different options available. I will be the first to admit it's not perfect. I agree that having a pump track across the street is not the ideal situation. But based on the space and the studies that we've had, it is definitely the best of the locations available, just because of the terrain and what have you. Putting pickleball courts on the other side, I think we've just deemed it is just not financially viable based on the terrain and the requirements that would be required, as well as the restrictions that hydro imposes upon us on the lands that we would be using. So I think we all heard the word compromise many times tonight, and I think that's what we're trying to do. This is a very small space that we're trying to accomplish a great deal on. So I think the reality is there has to be some compromise to try and accomplish the best we can for as many as we can. So I just wanted to say those comments, and I will be in support of this proposal.
Thank you, Councillor Snyder. Councillor Thompson, please.
Thank you. Just one question to staff and then a comment. The sound barrier between the two sports, what does that look like to you?
Through the mayor to Councillor Thompson, we don't necessarily know what that is, and that's something that we would work with the professional designers to give us some feedback on and what that would look like.
We currently have a sound barrier curtain in Ambleside, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, okay, thank you.
I think the main issue is that we whatever the fencing is, can't encourage the skateboarders to ride up on the fence. I understand that's really the issue. That's what I've heard, but anyway, it'll be
Okay.
interesting to see how it's resolved. Well, no, I just hear that at one of the parks, somebody is saying they crash up against the fence, but
Yeah.
anyway, we'll leave it to the people that know how to do this. So
Mm.
thank you, Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, so just, again, the appreciation for the process, and I'd like to call out Mr. Pelak and Lynn Palmer for keeping the communication open between council and staff. And, it really has been a lot of work and a lot of dialogue, and it may not be the perfect solution. I know there was that definite concern on council about putting kids across the street for whatever reason, and know that we keep that in mind. I think it was also brought to our attention after looking at the site that the site on the other side in the hydrolands is actually much more suitable for the pump track in the way of natural terrain that you can work with, as well as kind of the joy and pleasures of riding through the trees and not having to remove as many trees to create a beautiful recreational environment. So I hope over time we could satisfy all the uses, and I do believe we've done our best. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Councillor Gambioli, please.
Oh, sorry, what?
Yes, Councillor Thompson.
I was just going to mention, because I'm hearing a lot about the Capilano pickleball courts, and I would suggest that the advocacy groups start talking to Park Royal.
Yes.
Empty space. The Bay and Steve
Sure
Nash.
agree with that. Councillor Gambioli, please.
Just the last few words of the motion, it says at a future date, and just so question for staff, can we give any kind of a general timeline that we could see?
Ms. Lawler?
Through the mayor to Councillor Gambioli, we are still working with BC Hydro to determine the feasibility of what can go on there and what they will allow. I don't yet have a timeline because it is really in BC Hydro's hands at this moment.
I think the important thing is that they haven't said no.
They have not said no, and they continue to have dialogue and conversation with us. The challenge is it's multi-jurisdictional within the BC Hydro portfolio, so it takes a little bit longer to get answers back.
Right, I'm just hoping that, we're not looking at getting rid of that current sort of pump track that we have before something else is, imminently going to be in place. Like, that would be a bit of a shame. A future date just seems like very, very out there. So, okay. I guess there's not much more that we can do, but I would like to move that along. And a couple of comments. I'm assuming then that staff are it sounds like staff are in touch with the skateboard and BMX communities around, and I'm assuming that would maybe continue to the sort of planning of the actual amenity improvements. That sounds like a good idea. I don't know, I was a bit surprised to hear commentary that we are not utilizing the expertise and input from community members, because my impression is that we've been doing that all the way along. So I'm surprised to hear that. And the other thing is, I would like to get clear at some point, what is going on with pickleball advocacy? Because, our first speaker says, we want pickleball everywhere. We want more, but not at Glen Eagles, at Ambleside. And then the West Van players say, we're very enthusiastic about having it at Glen Eagles. So it would be really great if the pickleball community could speak with one voice, and so that council and staff could have a clear picture of what is necessary, because otherwise, I think this is pretty much it for pickleball. In my opinion, we have this $500,000 that's been left over for several years. It was a decision made by our last council to put pickleball up at Hugo Ray, and this is the leftover money. And if my opinion, if the pickleball community can't speak with one voice about what they need, then I'm confused.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Cassidy, please.
Well, I can't comment on that, but I believe there's actually two voices on the North Shore, because there's representation from two entities on the pickleball community. And, it's wonderful to have many opinions. We don't have to agree with them all, but anyway. So I would like to actually thank the skateboarding community for their input and their advocacy for their interests. We tend to so often be focused on one segment of our community, technically speaking, the older section, and forget that we have a younger section, and bless us for having such. And I must admit, when all this began, I was extremely ignorant about skateboarding. The only skateboarding I knew was down my street. So I was offered the invitation to go and view the skateboarding competition that was had at Ambleside Park. I think it was about last June. I know the sun was shining, so it's probably June. And I comprehended what a multi-generational sport it is, and the difference between a street skate park, street style park, and what we were offering. So I thank you for that. I'm a much more educated person as a consequence. And one of the comments I heard when I was there by a couple of people was what an unbelievably great job that Ms. Lawler had done, that she was very much in contact with the skateboarding community and making sure that their needs were heard and hopefully met. So thank you, everybody.
Nicely said, Councillor Cassidy. And to the skateboarders, you won over an advocate in this process with Councillor Cassidy. There you go.
Advocate, but you'll never see me on a skateboarding bar.
If there is no further discussion, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Contrary, the motion is carried unanimously. Thanks, and thanks for everyone who's been involved in this process. We are grateful. Thank you. And now we would like to go to the Arts and Cultural Advisory Committee Annual Work Report. We'll just give. Yeah. Ms. Swan, Mr. Swan, great to see you tonight. Thanks for joining us. Are you going to lead the presentation, or is Ms. Niedermeyer?
Yes, I will. I'd just like to say to the people who are here from the various councils that, as Councillor Gambioli mentioned, the cooperation between the Arts Advisory Committee and the cultural side of those countries could be extremely strengthened and would be a wonderful thing if it were. So to those of you that are still here in the building, please reach out through Councillor Gambioli or to me directly, and let's see what we might be able to make happen in terms of the cultural side of things in West Van and in those various countries.
Thank you.
Um,
Excellent.
As you know, I'm the chair of the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee, and I'm here tonight to introduce a few of the highlights of the committee's work. It's been a very, very busy year in 2025, and present the proposed 2026 work plan for your approval. We have 3 new members on the ACAC this year. Joining the current members are Henry Chung, Sanaz Mani, and Jenny Sangera. As well, we welcome a new council liaison, Councillor Christine Cassidy, joining Councillor Gambioli. And I look forward to working closely with all of them. And I'm sorry that Councillor Watt is not here this evening. I understand why, but I would like to express my and the entire committee's gratefulness for her service over the last couple of years and the wonderful, wonderful input she has brought to the cultural community
We will certainly
in
pass
West
that on.
Vancouver.
Thank
Please
you.
do. The highlights. Sounds like a report from the Olympics. In early 2025, Council approved the Arts and Cultural Strategy Update, which outlines our priorities from spring 2025 until the end of 2029. The update was based on the Arts and Cultural Strategy developed in 2018, which was comprehensive and still extremely relevant. In 2025, the committee spent a great deal of time working with the West Vancouver Community Arts Council to envision, develop, and structure an umbrella group for all of the arts organizations and artists in West Vancouver. This was identified as a major priority in the strategy update. As well, while the location for a multi-purpose community facility, which anchors the town center and supports seniors and youth programming, is in council's hands, the committee has continued to conduct ongoing discussions with the arts community on this topic. This was also identified as a major priority in the strategy update. The committee also continued to develop plans for street entertainment programming to animate the business areas and parks of West Vancouver. And while the committee greatly prefers a formalized and curated program, with the limited resources that are available at the moment, a proposal for a non-curated busking program will be presented to council on February 23rd. The committee also oversaw the creation of a publicly accessible online database, which outlines available rental spaces in West Vancouver, such as places of worship and other facilities across the district. This was desperately needed in order to have enough space for arts programming within the community. So moving to 2026 work plan priorities. In 2026, the Arts and Cultural Advisory Committee will continue to advance planning for a multi-purpose community facility as set out in the 2019 Arts and Culture Facilities Plan and in Council's strategic plan. To that end, a working group has been formed to develop communication and financial strategies for the construction and the ongoing sustainability of the facility. And that working group will identify funding sources from provincial and federal and municipal government, as well as private sources, and clarify the proposed funding sources to the community. And I'd like to speak to this for a moment, please. There is a massive misunderstanding in the community about the funding for this facility. We know that the facilities we have at the moment are aging out and are inadequate, and a new facility needs to be built. And there is, for some reason, a belief in the community that the entirety of the cost of that facility, or the vast majority of it, will be borne by the taxpayers of West Vancouver. This is completely erroneous and totally false. What we are working with at the moment is to determine sources of funding from the federal government through their new communities program that they have, through the provincial government, through the district, and certainly through a number of individual private donors. That's where the money will come from, not from the taxpayers of West Vancouver, which I am one. So that's where we're looking to be able to fund and support and continue this building. That is the work that we have to do. And I needed to say that because that misunderstanding in the community is taking away energy from getting this building built immediately. I just
Thank you,
wanted to
Mr.
clarify
Swan.
that.
You're completely correct with what you've just said.
Thank you. Now, the ACAC will also continue to work with the Community Arts Council to identify and develop the key initiatives that they need to undertake in order to become the umbrella organization for the arts in West Vancouver. And this is desperately needed so that, like the pickleball community, we can speak with one voice. And I would like to point out on a side note too, that I may have been a professional theater artist all my life, but I play pickleball, I play tennis. I'm a 5 handicap golfer. I swim. I hike. I play tennis. There isn't the pickleball side of the room and the arts side of the room. We are all West Vancouverites. We all live and work here.
I was waiting for you to say you were also a skateboarder.
Now, I'm too smart to be a skateboarder. It would be way too dangerous for me at that point. So no, I will give that up, or have given that up. But it's important to understand that we do all these things together. We are not divided into a sports community and an arts community. We all do all of these things. And that's one of the reasons why I'm on this committee and why I'm here this evening. Now, pending council's approval for a pilot program for busking in the parks and business districts of Ambleside, Dunderave, and Horseshoe Bay, the committee will assess the program's success and make any recommendations to council this fall. The Ambleside Dunderave Business Association, the Horseshoe Bay Business Association, and the bylaw department will also be consulted on the feedback they received from the community, and we will report to you. And finally, the committee will work with the Community Arts Council to convene a biannual gathering of arts groups that serve West Vancouver. The purpose of these gatherings is to encourage relationship building, the sharing of best practices, and to form a cohesive, informed, and advocating arts center and sector. In late 2025, the terms of reference for this committee were updated to include a non-voting member of the ACAC on other arts-related committees. This will maintain communication between committees and ensure that initiatives are communicated. The committee will also maintain close contact with the key district art institutions through the working groups in the Ferry Building and the Art Museum. For council's information, in terms of the approval of the 2026 work plan, the committee developed the 2026 work plan to focus on key priorities as identified in the art strategy and through thorough consultation with the member arts groups in West Vancouver. To that end, be it recommended that the presentation of the 2025 highlights of the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee be received for information, and that the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee's work plan be approved as presented. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to take questions at any time.
Thank you. I'll ask if there are questions, but I would just like to start by thanking you very much. Our community is very fortunate to have someone with your background and skills willing to help lead the charge. So to you and the rest of the members of your committee, our sincere thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. It is a remarkable committee with extraordinary talents and great passion. I'm very fortunate to be in the position I'm in with the committee. They are remarkable, hardworking, intelligent, and absolutely dedicated to this community.
It's wonderful. Councillor Gambioli, if I could move it over to you, please.
Thank you very much. I will thank Mr. Swan and other members of the committee that I can see in the audience. Maybe you want to just wave, those of you who are on the committee and have come here tonight. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure working with all of you. And again, we've just welcomed Councillor Cassidy too. So looking forward to our meeting later this week.
Mhm.
Right? All right, I will recommend that the presentation on the 2025 highlights of the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee be received for information, and the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee's 2026 work plan be approved as presented.
Thank you. Councillor Cassidy. Thank you. Is there any discussion? Councillor Thompson, please.
Thanks. You know, I've sat in on a number of the meetings and I do see the dedication and commitment of the committee. I'm very grateful for it. The one thing I really appreciated about this year was redefining the Arts Council. I think that's going to make it very transformative, create that one voice in our community that's going to be very helpful. And I just want to let you know that regardless of what's going on in the community, I believe this council understands full well where the funding is coming from. And I also think what's hopeful, when the opportunity does present, you've got a council and a community that understand and I would say agree on where that location would be. And I think that gives me a lot of hope and comfort.
Thank you.
Thank you. And no further discussion. I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary, carried. Thanks again. Thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you.
And now we'll move on to the district. That's the spirit. So the next item on the agenda is to deal with the historic grinder pump service policy and procedure. And I understand we're going to have a presentation. And I understand there are a number of people here this evening that wish to speak to this item. Can I just ask how many? Do we have one of the gentlemen who I thought for sure was going to speak just walked out the door. That can't be.
We have around about 10 names.
10 names on the list?
Roughly, yes.
Okay, I'm just trying to sequence this because I'm going to present an alternate recommendation that might influence how people want to address this issue. But just by way of background, as you may know, West Vancouver originally was built and most of the homes were on individual septic systems. It was in the late 60s, early 70s that the municipality went to a central sewage system. And I can remember as a child growing up, and there was a sewer pipe going in front of our property, and it was really quite controversial and people were pretty upset. And so the issue of how we've moved liquid waste around this community has been around for a long time. And for some reason, we have some anomalies around the community where we have lift stations, grinder pumps, which move waste from an individual home into the central distribution system. And as much as we've looked to try and understand how or why some of these anomalies have been created, the records date back 50 or 60 years. So very difficult to determine. The staff recognizing we had a problem where we were sending municipal crews out to work on individual properties without any formal agreement to do that creates a liability risk. And so something had to be done, and we do respect the staff's need to bring that forward to us to say, how do we address this problem? But with that background, Ms. Mulder, do you want to give a presentation, or would you prefer that I put forward what I think is a recommendation to move this forward?
The mayor, I think probably the latter makes the most sense at this point. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
I wonder if public would like to hear the, presentation just to
Well,
get
that's
the
what I'm asking.
context.
No, that's,
Yeah. I thought she said the latter though.
no, she didn't.
I did. So the presentation just consists of revisiting the council direction from October 2025 to prepare a cost recovery mechanism based on a fee for service and what goes along with that. So bylaw amendments, policy and procedure. And and it just sort of highlights what's covered under the policy and the procedure. But as I understand, there's been some further consideration in terms of the cost recovery, not the model, but what it's predicated on. And so happy to provide the presentation
Well,
or if.
I do believe that, I suspect all of the people that are coming to speak tonight are speaking to Mr. Perry. I think he's, if I've got that correct, communication, because I read a lot of correspondence that supports what he has written. So perhaps I could ask if he would come forward first. Would you like to join us, sir? I want to present to you a proposed revised amendment and seek your input on this. I think members of council, I suspect, are moved by the correspondence and the input that has been received. And that, so I've drafted this proposal that staff be directed to prepare applicable amendments to sewage drainage regulation bylaw 5263/2023, proposed policy and supporting procedures that provide for reinstatement of district servicing of historically maintained grinder pumps benefiting private owners on cost recovery basis, which includes labor, equipment. Equipment doesn't mean parts, and an administrative fee. So I think you've been advocating that parts should not be in this motion. And so I've written this so it is not in the motion.
Well, for sure, there is no way that any of us want to be paying for parts, equipment, maintenance, repair, any of that, because it's not the homeowner's ownership. The homeowners do not own this equipment. This equipment is owned by the district, by
Yes.
West Vancouver. So for sure, the only thing that we agree with is going along with the servicing fee, which is outlined in the new bylaw,
So
the amendment
sir,
bylaw very clearly.
I think you've persuaded me, and I think members of council that that is the correct way to go. And so I think rather than having everybody come up to speak to that, I'm telling you in advance that that's the motion I'm recommending.
Okay, would you mind if I gave my 3-minute
No,
spiel?
please do. Absolutely.
Okay, let's just address the bylaw itself. Call it the amendment bylaw. Because you cannot pass the amendment bylaw as is, or you will likely have approved another invalid bylaw, as you did in 2023. However, so this will integrate into what I think you're going to tell me, Mr. Mayor. However, if you delete the word materials and adjust another minor inconsistency in the bylaw, then I believe you will have good support for the amendment bylaw, and it should pass tonight without any controversy. Okay, so this is, I look a little more
I think
forward as to you elaborating on what you're suggesting.
I believe, sir, I believe we're of the same mind here.
Okay, now let me continue for just a minute.
Please.
Getting to the appendices. No problem with passing the bylaw with those a couple of amendments, but the appendices are a different story. And we'll never agree to the clauses in the appendices that would have the owner pay for, and I quote, all costs incurred by the district in providing the services, including but not limited to materials, parts, and equipment. Since the invalid bylaw of 2023, the district has insisted that the homeowner owned the pumps so that the homeowner would be legally responsible for all costs. Now, even though the district acknowledges ownership, up until your comments just a moment ago, Mr. Mayor, but up until then, the district has not accepted any of the costs, even though it acknowledges it owns the equipment. So this is, from what you're telling me, this may well be now in keeping with the community charter. Electoral assent is needed to offload pump ownership and all its costs to the owners. Appendices A and C are simply an end run around the district's ownership responsibilities. Again, written before your comments, and an end run around the community charter. Given that the district cannot offload the pump systems, it is saying we will charge for them anyway, which again, written before your comments. So in essence, if the homeowner would have to pay for equipment and parts and materials, they would be paying for everything, even though they don't own the pumps. And we know that in life, it's the owner that always pays. Servicing is the only charge the homeowner is required to pay. So property stated and itemized on the last page of the amendment bylaw is what the homeowner should pay and what we're willing to pay. And these other costs, again, are paid for under the district's capital infrastructure program. No individual pays for that. So I'm glad that you are acknowledging this. That the district's capital infrastructure program is shared by all homeowners through our quarterly utility billings and annual taxes. So we're asking council to commit to work with us to resolve the many critical issues in appendices C and particularly A, the servicing agreement. So the appendices are the big issue now. And there are a number of items which are grossly one-sided and need to be amended. And the stakeholders, meaning council, the grinder pump people and staff, need to meet at the table. And this should be led by council and not staff. Staff has a completely different agenda, but we should all be at the table. So we, council, are your agenda, us. We helped you get elected and we did not vote for staff. So on the bylaw, it seems that it should pass tonight, given the fact that it seems that you are willing to delete the word materials from the bylaw, and also to address those two inconsistencies, which is it's an issue with the way they were written.
I think my suggestion tonight is that that we would actually, if council agrees with the recommendation I'm putting forward, then it would go back to staff. They would draft the bylaw. It would come forward. So we will make sure that we are all on the same page.
Okay, that sounds great, but we do need to meet and discuss the issues in appendices A and C, and particularly the servicing agreement.
Yes.
Because this is where the unfairness is and the extreme indemnity issues that we would be asked to sign off on. Those all have to be re-examined. And I like to think, again, we can get together, sit around the table and resolve all that stuff. And that's great.
Okay, well, sir, we're grateful for your input. I've got to pass this on and see if Councillor Snyder will make the motion because it has to pass council. But if it does, then we will certainly be following up with you. And the idea is to find a solution to this historic problem that is fair and just.
And the motion again will be to delete that word.
Well, that's the wording there, but it is the words that you suggested, and I think properly delete are deleted.
You know, one word phrase that I think is overused in the municipal hall here, and that is cost recovery, because that gets thrown at us all the time to help support the whole push that council and staff have had on trying to get out from under the ownership situation. And
Well,
cost recovery is an internal word. It means nothing to to the rest of us. I would like to think that cost recovery is part and parcel of any part of any department in the municipality, but it means nothing to us. It's a duty of staff. Council's duty is to the voter. And so while I endorse cost recovery, but it doesn't have to be blasted at us all the time. It's kind of a scare phrase, frankly. And it's meaningless.
It's not intended to do that, sir. And I'm sure you appreciate the staff are doing their job, and that is to ensure that where possible, as many of the costs of running this municipality can be recovered as possible, keep our tax rates as low as possible. That's their job. So I'm sure you appreciate that.
Yeah, I do, but I still think it's an internal phrase that,
Got it.
you know, you're responsible to the voters. Staff is responsible for running the municipality, handling the infrastructure and handling the money. But that whole cost issue, that's covered off in the budgetary process. And yes, you have to agree with the end result for sure.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate.
As I say, we're grateful for, there's been a lot of input on this subject, and we are grateful for everybody sharing their thoughts, their history. And we are just trying to find the proper resolution to something that was done 50 years ago, and really nobody is sure why. So.
Well, I think I can speak for all of the grinder pump people. We're very pleased to hear that. And we'll be looking forward to seeing the revised amendment to the bylaw.
Thank you, sir.
And we again would love to, we need to meet and discuss the appendices. So I would love to think there'd be a forum that we could do that.
We'll ensure that happens, sir. Councillor Snyder.
So just before I make a motion, I just wanted to confirm that, you know, I appreciate Mr. Perry's comments, but it does need to be understood that staff is also following the direction of council. And council had given direction to staff. So, and I'll be the first one to admit that, you know, that we were educated over time. And so I believe that most of our opinions have changed, but I don't want it to be misunderstood that this is all a staff led. So as time has gone on over the last year and a half or 2 years since the grinder issue was brought to our attention, which it was brought to our attention by staff, they have then since been following direction given to them by council. And I believe that council has been educated over the last year and a half. And I suspect most of us, I would be one to first admit, you know, we were in error to try and suggest that the grinder pumps were not ours. I mean, they are clearly the property of the District of West Vancouver. That's, I think, a given that most, if not all of us, I can't speak for everybody, will accept as the case. And so moving forward, hopefully this proposal addresses that. But I just want to make that one comment that, you know, to direct it all at staff that way, they are following direction of council and have been so moving along. So I did.
Councillor Snyder, all the letters so on that people have written to staff, to council, mayor and council, the feedback never comes from mayor and council. It always comes from staff. And yet staff
We're not the experts, so that's why we reach out to the experts to try and get further opinion. So that's, I just wanted to make that comment. I don't intend.
Once again, staff has a different agenda, and you, mayor and council, we are your agenda, the voter. So we should keep that in mind.
Point taken. So I just wanted to, and I can't comment on the appendices that you're referring to at this point, and I'm assuming that that's something that can still be dealt with moving forward, Ms. Muller. I'm prepared to, you know, based on the discussion you've had with the mayor, make the motion as far as presented, but the appendices is, I just want to make sure is a different matter.
Through the mayor to Councillor Snyder. Yes, I understand what Mr. Perry is saying. The bylaw amendment, the policy and the procedure are all interlinked through definition, policy statements and supporting procedures. And so that's, they all need to be updated, and we'll certainly work with the mayor and the municipal manager to meet with the residents to discuss further is what I'm understanding the direction to be.
Yes, it's all through the, it's all the addendums that we are responsible for the machinery replacement parts, you name it. So that all has to come out.
And I think that the motion that you see on the screen there in front of you, it does take all of the parts and what have you. The only question that I do have for Ms. Muller is the word equipment that's used here in this.
Through the mayor to Councillor Snyder. So what's intended by equipment is district fleet. So to support the staff to go to the site to service the components of the system that the district is responsible for. That's what that equipment is intended to mean.
Right, and I just wanted to get you to clarify that so that everybody understood that when we refer to equipment, we're not referring to equipment per se. It's the equipment used by staff to provide the servicing that we're suggesting would be a cost recovery for the servicing. So, and based on that, then I would be prepared to make the recommendation as written.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Now, I do appreciate a large number of people came to speak to this. The reason I wanted to present this now is they may now feel it's unnecessary because I believe we've addressed the concerns. But I do want to ask, I'm going to thank you, sir. So I'm going to ask you to move away and then I'll open the microphone and see if anyone else wants to address council. Thank you, sir. Given what you've just heard, anyone else who did put your name on the list, I don't want, because you may have wanted to talk about some other issue. Does anyone still wish to address council on this matter? Yes, please. And I'm sorry, if you could just introduce yourself.
Catherine Cherney, and I'm a resident of Glen Eagles Drive. I just am concerned and maybe need some clarification in regards to how we're moving forward, because I am concerned about the wording. If you don't mind, again, re-clarifying, it's probably just for myself, but what specifically mean by equipment? Because I'm worried that we're getting wrapped into semantics and that it's all gonna look good, but
No, we're gonna be very clear that the word equipment does not mean parts.
And that's kind of my concern.
we appreciate
Personally,
that.
I think it needs to include parts. So
You want to pay for the parts?
no, I did, no.
Right,
Like
that's what's being excluded
This
here.
motion means you would not pay for parts.
Okay.
I think this, I believe that members of council have been persuaded that the pumps and the servicing of them, the parts, are the municipality's responsibility.
Okay.
And so just so that's perfectly clear and on the record.
Okay, so I'm not sure then when, and I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but when
Ms.
you
Mulder.
referred to the district fleet,
That means our trucks.
right? So why is there a separation in language?
Sorry. It's just that if our staff are going out to service it, they'll be using the municipal equipment to get there.
Right, and so that falls under our cost.
I
Can you, do
suppose
you mind
that-
pulling up the?
That would be the intention, and I was just clarifying, and fair enough, equipment fleet. So in order to transport the municipal employee that would be providing service, or in this case, labor to the system, they would be using a district vehicle to get there. And so that's what's intended by equipment. I believe in your the draft motion that council is considering. We're happy to use another word if it makes it clear. Or certainly in preparing and bringing forward a staff report, the bylaw amendments and supporting policy and procedure, we can make sure that's crystal clear.
There's certainly an opportunity. This is direction back to staff.
Mhm.
You'll have an opportunity. This will come forward for further council consideration, and there'll certainly be an opportunity to have further dialogue on that language.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
That could not be included. It's the service fee that we are going to pay.
Right.
That is outlined in the box in the last page of the amendment. It's as clear as day. That is the only one you have to report. The truck is part of the service.
Okay, we'll work on it.
Okay, I just wanted to
I
make sure
think we
that.
are ad idem on the principal issue here.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
You know, council originally, it was conveyed to us that we didn't own the pumps, the municipality didn't. I think we've been persuaded that that was perhaps wrong advice, not from our staff, but from somebody else. And that's altered our opinion, so.
So, Mr. Mayor, I wonder whether or not this is something that should then, before being proposed at this stage, maybe those are the things that we just need to ensure that we've clarified before calling the question on this motion.
Well, I think it can go back to staff. We can be in touch with the residents impacted. And before this comes back, I think there is an intent here to work cooperatively together to ensure a resolution that's satisfactory to everybody.
Okay.
Councillor Gambiola, and I think you're not in agreement.
No, I just have a question related to the motion,
Please.
which is the last one to be read a first, second, third time.
No, we wouldn't be doing that.
Oh, sorry, we're not doing that
No,
part.
we're only, my suggestion is
I-
tonight we only move what is written on the board and in
Sorry,
front
I
of
thought
you.
you said as written and you're talking about.
No, sorry, I meant as written on the screen
Oh,
here.
Oh, good.
Yeah, just on the screen.
Want to be on the same page, okay.
I think we're all on the same page here today.
Thank you very much for the clarification.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to address? Yes, Patrick,
Can I just ask a quick question? I don't
please
think
come
this
on
is-
up and congratulations on your recent win. Top realtor in his firm.
I pay him $20 to say that every time I come here. Don't think this is part of the bylaw amendment, but I just wanted to find out if there's going to be anything addressed with regards to residents that have incurred costs
Yes.
since October 2023
Yes.
to date.
Yes, there will be.
That will be addressed as well.
Yes, it
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I've still got Councillor Snyder and Gambioli's
I
microphones.
think there was somebody else that had their hand up also to speak.
Yes,
Yeah.
please, madam. Yeah, we'll be maintaining them. Yes, I'll just.
Existing staff report that recommends that the district, for any costs, reasonable costs incurred between when the bylaw was originally passed and the service was suspended until present, that the district will consider cost recovery of, it's not a claim per se, so certainly contact the district. We still need some things in place to actually provide the service.
Right, understood. What has been nice, and I just want to highlight, because through this process, what we did hear loud and clear from the residents was how very pleased you were with the service from our municipal staff in maintaining these facilities. And I just would like to recognize all of our crews that go out and do the work. It's nice to know that their good work is recognized. Does anyone else wish to comment this evening? And hearing none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Contrary, the motion is carried. Thank you, and thanks to all of you who have had input on this interesting subject. Item number 7, proposed youth activity fund. Councillor Cassidy, please.
Recommend the proposed Youth Activity Fund bylaw number 3662, 1995, amendment bylaw number 5437, 2026, be read a first, second, and third time.
Thank you, Councillor Gambiola.
Seconding that motion.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
I have a question, tiny question. It's
Please.
related, but
Sure.
sort of parallel. I know that staff have sort of, or in thinking about the budget for such a thing, just wondering whether the interior, what do you even call that? Decorating or any of the interior is included in a budget that would be presented to us for the
Ms.
youth
Catlin?
hub. I'm just trying to get my head around a number that we can sort of expect. And it just occurred to me that, I went to visit the the new childcare center that the school board's put together. And, there's a lot of equipment and furniture and all sorts of things on the inside. And so I'm just wondering, is that going to be part of the budget that's presented to us someday?
Yes, it will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of referred to as FF&E, which is fixtures, furniture and equipment.
Okay.
And that makes
Okay.
up part
Just
of
want
the
to make sure
budget.
that's not forgotten, because that ends up being actually more than nothing.
More than nothing, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much. Any further discussion? Councillor Thompson, please.
Yeah, just quickly wanted to point out that despite a comment earlier around the skateboard park, we have not forgotten our youth. We are a balanced council trying to meet all needs of the community and we can.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary, the motion is carried. Thank you. Item number 8, final reading, Councillor Lambert, please.
Thank you, Mayor Sager. This is a follow-up to the January 26th, first, second, and third reading of the proposed park dedication bylaw. And so I recommend that the proposed park dedication bylaw number 5424/2026 be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson.
Please second that.
Thank you. This is a wonderful bylaw. I'll call any discussion, question, all in favor, contrary carried. Thank you. Councillor Snyder, please, on item number 9.
Yes, also just to follow up on some clerical amendments on a couple of bylaws. So I'd like to recommend that the proposed bylaw notice enforcement, bylaw number 4368/2004, amendment bylaw 5412/2026 be adopted.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Gambioli. Thank you. Any discussion, question, all in favor, contrary carried. Thank you,
And
Councillor
I'd like
Snyder.
to recommend that the proposed municipal ticket information system implementation bylaw number 4383/2004, amendment bylaw number 5413/2026 be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Gambioli. Seconded, discussion, question, all in favor, contrary carried. Thank you. Proposed road closure, Councillor Thompson, again, just for adoption.
Yes, propose that road closure and removal of highway dedication bylaw number 5418/2026 be adopted.
Thank you. Thank you. Any discussion, question, all in favor, contrary carried. There's no new business. Consent agenda, Councillor Cassidy, please.
Would you like me to say as written?
Yes.
All right, I recommend that the consent agenda items as followed be approved as written.
Thank you. And there was one item, just so it's clear, because there was some misinformation around the proposed Finance and Revenue Advisory Committee terms of reference. I withdrew that so that it can be perfectly clear. We're actually trying to enhance that committee and not the other way around. Unfortunate misinformation. It's moved and seconded on the consent agenda. A question, all in favor? Sorry.
There was no seconder for that motion.
Oh, Councillor Lambert seconded that.
Okay.
Thank you. All in favor? Contrary, the motion is carried. Thank you. Item number 13. This was a recommendation. Mr. Bailey, could you just quickly highlight for council item number 13? This is under other business. We talked about it earlier, Mr. Bailey. We'll sit at the table over here, but
That's
okay.
right. So it's through the mayor to council. This was an item that was discussed at a planning committee meeting, an earlier one. The intention, it's mainly an administrative change to the motion to have planning staff consider taking future policy considerations and policy directions to the committee for review and recommendation prior to coming to council, rather than the committee specifically directing staff to do that. As part of the terms of reference for committees, they can't direct staff, only you can direct staff. So that's the administrative change in the motion that's before you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Gambioli. Moved, seconded. Councillor Cassidy, any other discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary carried. Thank you. And we had a request from the West Van Football Club, but I don't recognize anyone here this. Oh, there they are. Did you want to speak to your request this evening? Well, I think you should. I don't know that members of council have had the opportunity to. Thank you. I think it's an opportunity to share with the community the wonderful work that you and your club have done and are continuing to.
Apologies, we weren't entirely ready. Did not know we were meant to speak, so just give us a
it's
second.
okay. It's just, we received a written request and thought you might want the opportunity to present.
Yeah, go ahead and say things while I find. Oh, she's found it. She's found it. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council, and to everybody else here. My name is Ruth Burr. I'm president of West Van FC, your local football club, and this is Jürgen Frank, who is a director on our board and is an engineer by trade and leads our capital projects committee. Many of you know that we are currently building an indoor soccer bubble right at West Van Place for Sport. We're just below the track and the field, and it is going great guns. We've had huge success with our project to date. We are crossing our fingers that our bubble might be inflated in time for spring break in March.
Wow.
Dare to dream, dare to dream. And at this time, yes, we thought we'd come forward. Our very generous donor, Paul Meyer, has donated 3 million to the building of the bubble, and that is the monies that we are currently using and spending to build that part of the facility. There are 2 additional pieces to our project that make up the Paul Myers Athletic Center. The second piece after the bubble is the warm-up turf, and the third piece is a washroom building. The warm-up turf is a nice area to hold children when children are being dropped off in order to alleviate any concerns with parking and safety. You can move the children right from the cars into this warm-up pitch. The warm-up pitch will also be useful when there are games on West Van Place for Sport, in that visiting teams and home teams will have a place to warm up that is outside the area of play for games that are going on before us. And then the washrooms, of course, will be washrooms which will be used by the school from 8:30 to 3:30 while they use the facility. It is on their land. We have an MOU with them to make sure that they have time with the facility, and then time after that is ours. So students and teachers will be able to use the washrooms during the day. We will be able to use it in the evening, meaning West Van FC, and then on weekends, whenever we have visiting games again, parents, things who want to use the washrooms there will be a washroom for them to use. There will be male, female, and a universal washroom. And so in our letter, we asked for assistance possibly, or if we could apply for assistance with any CAC funds that might be available. For several years now, West Van FC has contributed quite a bit of money to capital projects that have been undertaken by the District of West Vancouver and by the school board. I listed quite a few in my letter. There were some I did not list because I did not have exact data. So for example, I know for a fact that we donated 15,000 to the Kalani Fields of a total of 45,000. I did not list what might have been approximately 15,000 to the school for lights at West Bay. And then a couple of years later, West Bay decided they needed that area, the gravel pitch, for parking. So we paid a fair bit of money to illuminate their parking. We also at some point paid several dollars to help illuminate the parking at what used to be Ambleside A. And eventually the West Van Police Department took over that parking area, and we were quite pleased to help illuminate their parking lot. We also helped with some lighting and gravel of Ambleside H. Those were also left out. I did include the funds that we contributed to Rutledge, 160,000 in 2010. And we ended up having to leave Rutledge after 6 years because it turned out that the all sport surface turf was not all sport surface, and our cleats apparently were doing damage. So after 6 years, we finally said, okay, it's yours. We will take our ball and go home, and just know that despite the fact we had contributed so much money, it still meant that field hockey, working solely on that field, did free up other time for us on D&E. So it was still a net benefit to us. And then of course we've paid for
fees relating to the building permits. I recognize in discussion with Jim, because this letter does not reflect as accurately a previous briefing note I had left for the mayor that showed a full breakdown as per the building department, 15,000 for a new fire hydrant that we needed. Why did we need that fire hydrant? There's another one across the
It needed to
street.
be closer to the facility.
Okay. And then there was some work for the curbs and things like that in the building permit. Jim would have a better idea. So we've contributed those, not contributed, it is the cost of doing business. We recognize that. But given we are a not-for-profit, we were hoping for some assistance possibly with those funds. And finally,
Just to interject, sorry, Rich, so
Please.
that's a total of 300,000 we've had to pay the district just for permits and such
to date.
to date, yes.
And then I also did a listing of our rentals for turf. We have paid since 2004, when the turf was put in, West Van FC has paid 2,058,000 in turf rental fees to date. And again, I recognize it's what we simply have to pay in here in West Van. Coquitlam does not charge their sports clubs for field rental, so they don't have that expense. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't know of any other clubs that are also contributing to capital projects of their host town. And I think I've said a lot. Does that all make sense? Is there?
It does. Thank you very much. I would suggest at this point in time that members of council, if you wish to consider their request, we direct it to staff who would come back with some analysis. And the one question I've got to ask is, have you gotten any money out of the school board or the provincial government towards this beautiful facility?
The school district has, obviously, we have a memorandum of understanding with them for the land.
Right.
So, and they have had to incur some costs. There were some legal fees in terms because we had to get some right-of-way, statutory right-of-way things done for our permit. But at this point, we've been assured, and we were told this before we started, that they would not be likely to have any monies for us. And no, we need to say hello to the province and go meet them face to face and tell them we're here and fabulous and that they should consider giving money to us.
Have applied for a grant.
We did apply. That's right. We did apply and sadly did not make it for a BC gaming grant. There was a 250,000 we applied for, and we were told while we were worthy, we were not lucky recipients this year. We can apply again next year. So we did ask for that.
Happy to work with you on that.
Thank you.
Members of council, I think it would be good to receive for information, but to ask for staff to consider the request, and we can bring it back forward. Anybody want to make that motion? Moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Snyder. Any other discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary, carried. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We now have an opportunity, if there are any public questions or comments. Oh, sorry, reports. Oh, I'm sorry. Councillor Cassidy, how could I miss you? You don't have a report tonight? Oh, well, I could report that it's been a lot of work on the governance committee at Metro, but I don't want to bore everybody tonight. Councillor Thompson.
Well, if Metro is boring, I won't speak either, but actually I will, because you may be hearing about this issue a lot in the newspapers. I'm on the Parks Committee, and they've been reviewing the dog on leash, off leash bylaw through Pacific Spirit Park. Remarkably, they have over 4 million visitors a year and a very intricate park system. So it's been an interesting discussion. Probably the more public feedback than we had during the Beeline, the controversy. But anyway, Metros is working really hard with the community and have made some amendments to their plan, and we continue to work towards a good result that seems to be in keeping with what the public wants.
Thank you. Councillor Cassidy.
I'm sorry, may I ask what the issue is?
So through the trail system, they've realized, as we can, that there's conflict between dogs on leash and off leash. So the parks initially went through and designated quite a few trails as on leash. And they're just trying to work with the public to get a better understanding of what would be more effective.
Yes, there's lots of feedback to all of the directors of Metro on this subject. Anybody
Hundreds.
else report? Can I have a motion to receive the report, Councillor Cassidy?
Yes, I recommend that the all reports from mayor and councillors be received for information.
Thank you. Seconded, Councillor Gambioli. Question, all in favor, contrary carried. And now the opportunity for any questions from members of the public who are with us this evening.
Thank you, Mayor Sager. We do have a speakers list. The first name on it is Kirk Lapointe, followed by Melinda Slater and Diane Montgomery.
Thank you, Mr. Lapointe. Thanks for joining us this evening.
I want to speak tonight about a matter that was originally on the consent. It involved a substantial reduction in terms of revenue. The district's finance and revenue advisory track. This important item was strangely not even anticipated for discussion. It would have been approved in a single motion along with much more routine matters. Taking that approach at any time ought to concern all residents of the district. The proposed changes would make FRAC reactive rather than proactive, limit its ability to examine broader financial strategy, and compromise its independence. The proposal was withdrawn from this meeting, but I think it would be important that we all know what members ought to expect when they arrive for their next meeting tomorrow. I can understand if the committee would feel that this has been a disingenuous and performative exercise, appointed reluctantly, touted as a commitment to consultation, deprived of real agency, and diminished with as little attention as possible. Changes affecting FRAC are at the heart of how residents participate in fiscal discussions, taxes, revenue priorities, and financial planning, among the most consequential issues this council handles. Yet the mechanism chosen to newly define participation placed the matter on a consent agenda, where items are presumed non-controversial and pass without debate. That approach sidelines council discussion and public awareness. Consent agendas, as you know, are meant for housekeeping, items that genuinely require no debate. Governance changes or advisory committee mandates shape how public input reaches council. They deserve sunlight and conversation. This also highlights a broader challenge. Consultation in this community often feels compressed or procedural rather than genuinely formative. Too often, advisory committees or the public encounter proposals after staff work is largely complete. Engagement then becomes reaction, not collaboration. Residents are informed, but not truly involved in shaping outcomes. You can see it now with the poorly constructed and implemented pay parking plan, which has pleased no one except perhaps Impark, the business implementing it. You heard it tonight with residents that have long been concerned about grinder pumps. You've heard it on this year's budget, on the Ambleside local area plan, the boathouse purchase in Horseshoe Bay, the relocation of the art museum, the sale of 3000 Park Lane, the widened scope of the Navy Jack House redevelopment, even the presence of dogs on the Seawalk, although I understand that one's settled. Too often, council seems to have an allergy to strong consultation. Taken together, the pattern people see is consultation happening after direction is set, engagement that informs rather than involves, and advisory input that feels constrained rather than empowered.
That's your time, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Lapointe. And the
Okay,
next speaker?
The next name on the list is Melinda Slater, followed by Diane Montgomery.
Thank you, Ms. Slater. Thanks for joining us again.
Back again, Melinda Slater, 1058 Keith Road. And I wanted to ask about the provincial housing directive. I think it's about the most significant threat that our community has ever faced. And the December 31st deadline for the complying with province's Bill 44 mandate has come and gone. And I think there's many residents that are anxious for an update. So I just had a few questions to that end. And I'm just wondering if Mayor and Council has received any further communication from the province about that Bill 44 housing mandate. And also if there's been any discussion about joining View Royale's judicial review. And whether or not the mayor and council is having a discussion with our lawyers about legal options that are available to us, or what we might expect to happen as far as the province following through with their threats. And lastly, I just noticed today there was something that came out from City Hall Watch that they've got a moderated discussion with View Royale's mayor, that they've invited other municipal councils and staff to join. And I'm wondering if anyone's going to participate in that.
Thank you, Ms. Slater. Yes, I'm in contact with that mayor. And as you may know, we were able to rally the support of 15 out of 17 of the other mayors around Metro Vancouver. I think the ministry has probably got the message. This is very unpopular legislation. We have not heard anything further. And I do expect we'll have an item on our next agenda on the 23rd regarding participating in the judicial matter.
Okay, thank you.
But I should also say, I believe our staff have been in discussions with ministry staff.
Okay, thank you.
Diane Montgomery.
Thank you. Ms. Montgomery, thanks for joining us this evening.
Good evening. I just wanted to thank all of the council and mayor for supporting the pickleball. And I came late onto the pickleball situation, and I think it's going to be really great in Glen Eagles. And I really love the idea of sprinkling the 3 courts separately. I think that will integrate with the community, and pretty soon those skater boys will be wanting to play pickleball when they get tired of their skating. And you know what? I really think it will all work out with the noise, and it'll all be fine. And we're all part of the community, and we want all these recreational things to be multi-generational and get the kids off their phones, being active, and as well as the 96-year-olds who we know play. So I really think it's going to be fantastic. I'm very, very, very excited about it. I didn't really do anything for it, but it's going to be lots of fun, and it's going to look really great. I really think so.
I agree with you. And anyone who suggests that this council doesn't consult and involve the citizens doesn't know what they're talking about.
No, it's you guys. It's really great. I'm really excited about it. And Sue is going to speak about pay parking, which tonight I won't say anything about.
Okay. Yeah, for anybody who wishes to discuss pay parking, I should tell you that members of council, I think we're going to have a workshop. Like maybe Mr. Manager, you could just briefly talk about the work you've been doing in consultation with our neighboring communities.
I can't really get into, well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can't get into talks I've had with neighboring jurisdictions right now on the specifics of what they're doing, but I am going to be holding a committee of the whole meeting with staff and council in the near future to further discuss pay parking.
I have asked members of council to give up additional time for further discussions on the pay parking. See if we can find a way to improve on what is out there so far. But I don't want to discourage anyone else who wants to come and discuss the issue. And the next person.
The next name on the list is Lynn Rockwell, followed by Ryan Emerson, followed by David Jones. Lynn Rockwell.
Thank you, Ms. Rockwell. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me. I apologize, my voice comes and goes by this time at night, so I will try to speak clearly, succinctly. I'm Lynn Rockwell. My daughter and I own 2 businesses on Bellevue. We own Romantic Lingerie and Phoenix on Bellevue. I've been in the fashion industry for over 50 years, and I have owned my own businesses in West Vancouver for more than 41 years. I've survived several recessions, a lot of recessions. Market crashes, Park Royal's years of construction, COVID, the last 5 years of war, economic downturn, uncertainty, and everything else that the world has thrown at us. After surviving all that, I'm trying not to be angry, but finding parking decisions that are made that could put me out of business are very upsetting.
I don't like the attitude, oh, well, the strong will survive and more businesses will fill in the space. I think we've proved we're survivors, as a lot of my fellow retailers have, but the parking situation has the ability to take us down. I don't know if some of you really understand what it's like to have to build a business from nothing and work your whole life at it. I hope that it's because you don't understand and not because you just don't care. Ambleside has the charm of a village with great coffee shops, restaurants, boutiques, interesting businesses, but the street is a shopping community. If customer comes in for a bra fitting at my store and wanders down to pick up some cheese from Kim and goes to get a coffee at Crema and stops into Da Vinci's, they need the time and the comfort of doing that. They need an easy parking spot where they will have time to shop the street. They don't just need to stop and run in and get something and enjoy the neighborhood. I don't normally like to disclose the information that I am, but I really want you to know what we're up against. My daughter and I in two stores pay over $30,000 in rent a month. Never mind the cost of running the stores and staffing, which continues to go up. If we don't do over 2 million a year, we won't be in business next year. We need to sell an awful lot of bras and jeans to crack that nut. Like a lot of retailers, we make our sales in October, November, and December, and we make enough if we do it well to project us through the lean months of January and February. It's a real proverbial fat cow and lean cow, and if you do it right, you survive. Last year, this past Christmas, we did not make enough money in October, November, and December to have anything left over, and now we're struggling for finding our rent. We love the shopping district. We have always wanted to be here. But if we keep losing money, I'm going to have to take the businesses somewhere else.
That's your time, ma'am.
One paragraph.
Sure.
We would like you to cancel paid parking in Ambleside Park and police our paid parking, our 2-hour, parking on the street. Put the plans on hold until we can work out a system where you can get revenue that doesn't put us out of business. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Next name on the list is Ryan Emerson, followed by David Jones and Kristen Fernandez.
Thank you. Mr. Emerson, please. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for letting me speak today. I want to share more details surrounding the impact of the parking regulations at Ambleside Beach. I have a unique perspective to understand how this has affected us and the rest of our locations in BC. We've all suffered the impact of tariffs, rising cost of living, inflation, and other macroeconomic factors in the Greater Vancouver area, BC, and certainly across Canada. That said, parking fees have brought a unique circumstance and barrier to doing business. We are noticing individuals using those parking spots in front of our business district to go play sports and enjoy the park space. I've taken results from the past 3 years to illustrate how Ambleside Earls is different than the rest of our locations in British Columbia. 3 years ago, revenue was up 6.8%. The rest of BC, 5.9%. Ambleside outperformed the rest of the stores in BC. 2 years ago, 5.7% increases, while the rest of BC was down. Again, Ambleside outperformed. Last year, though, was the first year that those sales increases came to a halt. The store was down 1.9% in sales, with the rest of BC being up in sales. To better understand how this shaped up over the year, I referenced the first 5 periods or 20 weeks of the year where Ambleside was up 4.9% in sales and the rest of BC was up 0.9%. Again, Ambleside outperformed. Summer was a tricky period. Competition opened up on the North Shore and our sales slowed. We were down 5.3% while the rest of BC was up in sales. Now since September though, down 6.4% in sales, while the rest of BC is up in sales. Not only can I speak to the trends of other Earls locations in BC and how generally speaking, Earls Ambleside has outperformed them, I also know that the other brands owned by the Fuller family have seen similar sales increases, coincidentally similar to the ones that we lost. Those restaurants are located at Park Royal. I think I know where the people might be going. To put all those small numbers I put in context, since the paid parking started, it's $230,000 in lost revenue. This is troubling for any business, especially one that was performing so well before these parking regulations.
That's your time, sir.
Our business community faces the same factors as the rest of BC in the macro economy. Yet we face local factors like parking that are instrumental in these sales losses. And I certainly understand the council's desire to create revenue from parking, but it should not come at the cost of the local businesses in this community.
So if I'm going to suggest, just because my colleagues here will get cross at me if we go too much over the allotted time for the question period, but I would recommend that you put those comments down and address them to mayor and council. We are going to have a workshop on this subject and we'll be interested in your written feedback as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next name on the list is David Jones.
Mr. Jones, good to see you this evening.
Nowhere I would rather be in here.
It's always good to see you.
Mayor Sager, I came across an email you sent me when you and I were on the ADBIA board back in 2021. I have it here. In that you said that you were right. Paid parking will kill small business in our community. The issue has been debated many times over the years. Well, I hate to tell you, but you're right. I've spent 10 years as a business owner and resident fighting for parking in the Ambleside business area. The never-ending attack on Ambleside business parking by the district has been exhausting. In 2016, the district planned to close Argyle Avenue from 13th to 18th to build a spirit trail. I informed the public about this at this time and collected over 4,000 signatures from residents opposing this plan. The initiative was partially defeated, but later that year, Argyle Avenue between 13th and 14th was closed for a temporary pilot project. It is still closed 9 years later. Then in 2019, the district planned to remove all the parking on both sides of Marine Drive from 13th to 25th to operate a Beeline bus service. After a significant fight from businesses and residents, the initiative was defeated. On September 15th, 2025, the district implemented paid parking in Ambleside Park, causing substantial losses for Ambleside businesses and frustrating residents. And now we're here. Our residents cannot find parking in the Ambleside business area because it's full with park goers, sports families, employees, and seawall walkers, all avoiding paid parking in Ambleside Park. It should be noted that the lack of any parking enforcement in Ambleside is also a major problem. It is important that you understand the relationship between the West Vancouver business community and West Vancouver residents. It is a symbiotic relationship where residents benefit from the businesses and the businesses benefit from the residents. When you remove parking ability from the business areas, you're not only hurting the businesses, but the residents who use the businesses and the services. It might be a doctor's office, dental office, cheese shop, framing gallery, or a restaurant, but they all need adequate parking to attract the residents, and our residents need the parking to use the business and services. When an entrepreneur decides to open a location in West Vancouver, it's because he or she believes that the community will want the goods and services they plan to offer. They invest in our community, enhance it, and make it a nicer place to live. They lease a space, build it out, hire staff, and invest their time and money and pay their taxes to make the lives of our constituents better. All they ask from the district is sufficient parking for their clients who are our residents. A commercial area with inadequate parking is doomed to fail. And for over 2 years, I have been warning you that putting pay parking in Ambleside Park. And I warned you what would happen, and now it has happened. Let's
That's your
fix
time,
the
sir.
problem. Please postpone pay parking at Ambleside Park until such time business, sports groups, the ADBIA, and the district have enough time to create a solution that works for all stakeholders and make West Vancouver a better place. West Vancouver's mayor and council need to focus on solving problems, not creating them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. And I'll say this and also to Mr. Emerson and the nice person from Romantique, all of you who have businesses, I'd invite you to come over and see what I've done in my parking garage.
You want your email?
I've got it. On Clyde Avenue, I've recently, and this has nothing to do with me being the mayor or anything to do with council, but recently installed a state-of-the-art parking system, which will be linked to an app called Park at West Van, and you'll be able to go online and see if there's parking available. I think we're going to start out for the first few years at $1 an hour to pay for the actual infrastructure. I'm hoping other property owners will recognize it's sensible to lift up the parking garage doors, let businesses and their customers use the parking under their building. Ms. O'Brien and I walked through Ambleside. I think we counted in the hundreds of parking stalls that are underutilized in our community. And I think it is incumbent upon property owners to be part of the solution as well. I just put that out as a little ad for a new parking system, and Ms. O'Brien's agreeing with me. So is there anyone else who wishes to address council?
We have 4 more names on the list, Mayor Sager. Next is Kristen Fernandez, followed by Sue Goddard.
Thank you. Ms. Fernandez, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Christine Fernandez. I'm speaking to you once again as the owner of Da Vinci's Home, a member of the Ambleside business community for over 30 years, to express my dismay regarding the pay parking system implemented in the park. Affected business owners have repeatedly raised concerns about the negative impact this policy has had on our operations and the wider commercial area. Over the last 2 years, I have received some positive feedback to my correspondence regarding pay parking from the mayor and council. Most notably in June 2024, Mayor Sager emailed, "Please don't worry too much about the parking situation. We won't do anything without lots of discussion." And Councillor Cassidy emailed, "District staff is consulting with Ms. O'Brien of the ADBIA to ensure a solution to pay parking is found that benefits both the district and the business area. The district is fully committed to ensuring a vibrant, financially successful business area. Please stay engaged as discussions on this matter proceed." As spring approaches, we anticipate a surge in park attendance. Since September 2025, experience has shown that many park visitors will continue to use free commercial parking located mere steps from pay parking, intensifying the strain on local businesses already facing significant financial pressure. As a personal example, my monthly rent is now $14,000. With staffing and all other costs associated with running a business, my sales break even is $42,000 a month, and that's before I pay myself. Regardless of how hard I work or how much I invest in my store, I won't remain viable if customers continue to bypass us because they cannot find parking. With all due respect, survival of the fittest is not a sound economic policy. Ambleside needs more than banks, gas stations, real estate, and professional offices. Small independent businesses are essential to building a healthy, dynamic, and welcoming community hub. Empty spaces may not impact the district's revenue stream since landlords continue to pay the property tax regardless. Residents will, however, take note as the heart and essence of Ambleside slowly gets hollowed out. We ask council to please put current pay parking policy on hold and work with the ADBIA because as community stakeholders, we need to be part of the solution. However, if council has an alternate vision for how you see Ambleside evolving, please let us know so we can plan accordingly and keep our options open as our leases come up for renewal.
That's your
I-
time, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us.
Next three names on the list are Sue Goddard, followed by Nigel Malkin and Kim Graydon.
Thank you. Ms. Goddard, thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much for your time. I'm here as president of West Vancouver Field Hockey Club. And I'd like to respectfully remind council and mayor of our clubs that we raised $1 million towards the building of Rutledge Field. And since then, we contributed enhancements to the field around the sports area, around lighting and field maintenance. We've also contributed to other sports fields in the area. And through all of and every year,
I can tell you, Councillor Gambioli reminds us of these facts.
yes,
on
I
a
appreciate
regular
that.
basis.
Yeah. Every year we pay sports fees. This year it's anticipated it'll be over $90,000. So similar to our friends over at the football club, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars that we've put towards the field rentals. And over this time, we've worked together with council as partners in developing that space. In regards to the current parking situation, it doesn't feel like we or the other sporting associations are being considered stakeholders, let alone partners. We'd like to make the following suggestions in order to make pay parking program more fair and reasonable to all. And we're making these suggestions here due to lack of proper stakeholder consultation. This doesn't mean we want to replace that process, which we think is essential for a smooth rollout of paid parking in such a unique and multi-use area as Ambleside. So some of our suggestions are initial free time for athletes to play their sports, like 3 hours for no charge to cover the time it takes to practice and play. Seasonal based pay parking, reduce the rates to $1 an hour, September to June to cover the busy fall and spring seasons and put higher rates in for the summer. Do something similar like you've done with the West End School District and residents and allow a $20 a year parking pass for club members. And reduce rates Monday to Friday with higher rates on weekends. So it's day and time of day rental rates. We'd also like you to note that our spring programs begin immediately after spring break, which means we need to start communicating with our members on the pay parking status before that time. Together with our partners over at West Van Little League, West Van Football Club, the Hollyburn-Zelling area, we'd like to be happy to discuss these suggestions with staff and council and provide further information and feedback to facilitate a successful paid parking implementation. So we'd urge you again to include us in consultation. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Just a really stupid question, but
I'm
is
sure
there-
it's not stupid.
Well, no, are there any field hockey fields in either the city or district of North Van?
There are none. So we do play on some of the soccer pitches. But that's more for spring league, and then the higher level games, they're
They're
done
all
at
in
Rutledge,
Ambleside.
or then they move off to other parts of the GVRD. Most of which are free parking in those areas, with exception of things like UBC, which is unique.
Where else in Metro would I go?
Okay, in Vancouver, you'd go to Eric Camber Field, which is just across from Van Dusen Gardens. There's also fields in Coquitlam, Burnaby. There's 2 fields in Surrey, Richmond as well. We actually have sent an itemized list to council of all the fields, and we've noted where paid parking exists or doesn't, and you'll see generally it doesn't. And we've shared that along with soccer and baseball diamonds as well.
Thank you. We have received that.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Malcolm, thanks for joining us this evening.
Mayor and council. Don't worry, just working 60, 70 hours a week so that we can break even is probably how you fall over at a council meeting. So let me start. Maybe the workshop should have been done before the paid parking was implemented. Just a minor suggestion. Council members have been rather fond of reminding everyone that they were elected by taxpayers and therefore represent us. Fine. No one's disputing the basic maths of democracy, but representation isn't a slogan to trot out when it's convenient. It's an obligation. It requires listening, engaging, and occasionally accepting that people you represent might have thoughts of their own. And on the matter of paid parking, that obligation seems to have gone completely missing. Instead of actually asking the community whether paid parking is something residents and local taxpayers support, or how it might sensibly be introduced, councillors largely opted to make the decisions from the comfort of council chambers. There's been precious little broad consultation, no meaningful back and forth, and not much evidence that anyone paused to ask the public or the businesses what they think before charging ahead with this program. The impression left is that council has already decided what's best and sees little need to trouble itself with contrary views. Now, if council were to properly engage with taxpayers it claims to represent, they might discover something mildly shocking. People are capable of seeing both sides. The answer to paid parking may look quite different if it reflected the community input rather than a personal conviction. Residents are not automatically opposed to change, nor are they allergic to compromise, but they do rather expect to be consulted before decisions that reshape their neighborhoods are handed down like a tablet from the mount. And while we're on the subject of taxpayers, let's clear up a common oversight. They're not just homeowners, local business owners are also taxpayers too. We pay into the system, we employ people and help keep the place from turning into a row of empty storefronts and police signs. Many of us spent years dealing with the practical realities of parking, accessibility, customer access, and the delicate balance that keeps the local commercial areas alive. Our views come from lived experience, not armchair theorizing. At present, we are on a highway that approaches and feels like representation, more like, don't worry, we know what's good for you. This tone does little to build public trust and quite a lot to irritate people, especially on something as visible and everyday as paid parking. The real irony is that the genuine engagement might actually uncover common ground with a proper town hall, surveys, and dare one say actual conversations. Council might find that residents and businesses are open to a compromise. They might support paid parking under certain conditions. They may offer practical ideas that make it work better, or they may raise entirely different, entirely reasonable concerns that deserve attention before policies that are carved in stone.
It's your time, sir.
Yeah. In
Can
any
you wind up?
case, I'm almost there, sir. If not, I'll write my name up and I'll come up and speak again. In any case, the end result would almost certainly be a better policy, a policy that people feel they had their hand in shaping. Being elected does not mean stop listening to people when you're there. Representation is not proven by endlessly repeating we are elected by the taxpayers, but consistently demonstrating a willingness to hear from the taxpayers, including local businesses that help fund and sustain this community. On paid parking, that listening has been noticeably absent. The council truly believes and represents the people of West Vancouver. It might consider a radical idea. Ask the community what they want before telling them what they're getting. My final comment is, when this first came up 2 years ago, I said that parking enforcement needed to come first. Instead, it was implemented with no additional viable staff to enforce parking restrictions. Better still, the district hired someone to investigate this paid parking for 2 years. Yet to the best of my knowledge, the new hire has yet to come down to Ambleside to actually ask the merchants anything about it. And I'm sorry, I find this is absolutely unacceptable to myself and the entire business community.
Thank you, Mr.
The
Malcolm.
election is only months away. We may need to see a wholesale change
Thank
of
you,
our
Mr.
council.
Malcolm. Do your best. Thank you, Mr. Malcolm. Councillor Thompson, please.
That was the wrong thing to say, sir.
Thank you, Mr.
You've
Malcolm.
seen what's happened in the past.
Thank you, Mr. Malcolm. Oh, sorry, one more. Yes.
I believe what Mike Brenner said about, I believe I signed on the first sheet to speak after all those over 6 people. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Good evening. I am the new kid on the block, literally. My name is Kim Graydon. I opened Graydon's Cheese Cellar on Bellevue. So I just wanted to give my support to the pause in paid parking, and with 6 months under my belt and enough time to cultivate relationships with some customers, I wanted to share my feedback on paid parking. I did look at multiple locations before settling on Bellevue. I looked at Lower Lonsdale, a couple locations there, and another one on Marine Drive, and rejected those due to a few factors, and one being the lack of parking in the area close to those shops. I did feel incredibly fortunate to find 1441 Bellevue, amazing location and great parking at that time. I do want to say that from the start of the business, I did decide to pay for 2 parking spots behind my shop for an extra $400 a month. And I do also park underneath the building in a spot for myself, which I do pay for. Since paid parking has come into effect, I've observed the following. Number 1, families parking on Bellevue and walking to the park in their soccer gear, or as I saw last Sunday in their field hockey gear. People who cannot find parking on Bellevue park in my spots behind the shop and walk out to Marine Drive. This has created a number of unsafe situations with members of the public and their anger directed towards me or my staff when they're spoken to. Customers also come into the shop and verbally express their frustration, and one of them shared the following with me to be read tonight. It's very small type, so I have my glasses. Hi, Kim. Firstly, thank you for opening your fabulous independent store in West Vancouver. I really enjoy shopping there, and you have improved my hosting game to no end. Parking to shop at your store has been tricky as of late. I am an Eagle Harbor resident, so I need to drive to shop in Ambleside. The new paid parking system in the park seems to have pushed recreation visitors into the business area to avoid paying and clogged up the parking next to the shops and restaurants. I would ask please that at the next council meeting that the system be revised or reconsidered. It is useless to have the recreation car parks almost empty and the business areas overflowing. West Van residents were hoping that the new system would encourage people to use the recreation area properly, fishing, beach, swim, soccer, etc., and discourage longer parking greater than 2 hours in the business area. I am raising 2 elementary age boys, so I use both areas very frequently and feel lucky to do so. I just hope that the businesses can hang in there until the issue is resolved. It would be a travesty if the businesses ended up closing due to lack of shopper foot traffic. Just to share a little bit of numbers, my revenue month over month, starting from September 15th, when paid parking began, to October the 14th, dropped 9.4% from the month prior. And from October 15th to November 14th, it dropped another 5% to a
That's your time,
total
ma'am.
of 15%. I'm almost finished, thank you. I'm here to show my support to the request to pause paid parking in Ambleside Park until a full study can be done where you can truly understand the ripple effects on the community that you are elected to serve. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Sorry, sir. And it's nice to see you again. And
It's really nice to see you again.
and
I'm
we-
hoping you're having as wonderful an evening as I am.
absolutely.
Now, this might be a bit shocking, but I actually didn't really come to talk about paid parking.
Oh.
Sorry. But what I am saying is that thanks to your sea level rise presentation of a couple of meetings ago, the club is meeting with Jim Bailey and Heather Keith on Thursday to discuss how the sailing club can accommodate sea level rise. I'd also like you to know that our adult sailing lessons, one session is completely full. The second session only has 2 spots left. So if anybody here wants to learn how to sail, you better get on that website quick. And now that kind of leads me towards paid parking, because obviously the people taking lessons would like to know how much it's going to cost. And I know that right now you said this is a winter rate, and I'm wondering if there is a spring, summer, and fall rate has been discussed and decided upon? Because
Well,
our courses are in the spring, summer. and fall.
As I mentioned earlier, I've asked members of council to set aside time for a complete workshop on the subject, and we're monitoring very closely with what's happening in the city and district in
Yeah,
North Van.
I've heard that, and I'm just, my snarky question is, so are you gonna invite the representatives of the sailing club and the other sports groups to this working group?
Yeah, it might, we might do that. We're
Well,
just deciding.
You
how
think
to-
about the Ambleside Park concept plan, Ambleside waterfront concept plan, there was lots of communication and
Mhm.
involvement with groups. And the club really appreciated that. No, I can't speak for the sports clubs because I don't think that part of the park was really included, but we thought that was a really great idea and we'd like to see you do another leadership role in that.
Thank you.
Oh, and I'm only here on behalf of the sailing club because our Commodore couldn't make it tonight.
Got it.
So maybe next time you'll see a fresh face.
Okay, it's always good to see you. Thanks so much, sir. Sorry. Yes, Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. I just feel with all the public input, which is, greatly appreciated. I just want to make a comment. I can understand the frustration perhaps around the clumsiness of the communication protocol or how it's rolled out. And as I've spoken publicly, I do support a pause until we step back and get this project right. But I would also like to point out that as businesses particularly, I'm hearing a lot about lack of engagement, but my understanding is your BIA rep has had more time with our senior staff and member of council than any advocacy group I've known. And I believe she does represent your interests, is passing on her ideas that I'm assuming she's getting from you. I also have want to acknowledge that the feedback given by the sports groups has been incredibly informative and constructive. So all that information will be taken back to our workshop, whether we, whether it includes, we have yet to decide how that's going to roll out, but we are hearing your concerns and look forward to coming back to you with some resolve.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Ms. O'Brien?
To Councillor Thompson's point, yes, I have met with staff frequently, but these decisions are already made. So we are just there to say, this is what our policy is. This is what we're going to do moving forward. We really, really, really need to be at the table with all of you and the sports people so that we can all work on this. We all want the same thing. We fully support what you guys want. We understand you need the revenue. We get it. We need the turnover. So we want the same thing. But you guys making the decisions and then telling us gets us where we are now. It's been a year, February 2025, when I sat here and Mayor Sager changed the motion to say that you would hire someone to work with the BIA. And that person has never set foot in our commercial area. The meetings that we have with staff are good. I appreciate them. We always thank them, but it's only to inform us what they're going to present to you. That's where it is. So the other thing that I did want to say is I have been reading this book, which I would recommend all of you get. It's about tourism and Roger Brooks, who did the shipyards, which nobody's looking to make a shipyards in West Vancouver. So don't worry about that. But he says in the book that the path to increase visitor spending and vibrant downtown starts with plenty of convenient parking and enough time for people to spend their money. Successful communities earn far more from dollars spent in shops than from quarters fed into meters. And that is all we're trying to do. We're not trying to stop you guys from making money, but we are trying to help these guys make their money. So I really do think it's important that we are at the table. I also wanted to just point out that I reviewed our foot traffic data on the 1300 block of Marine Drive and the 1400 block of Bellevue from December 2024 to December 2025. And in those 2 months, just those months, pedestrian traffic increased 60% on Marine Drive and 40% on Bellevue, yet both of those areas are down in foot traffic coming into their businesses and in revenue. So that is people parking and going to the park. I don't know how much clearer that can be. I really don't. So if you could bring us to the table, we could get all this done and you guys can have at her by June 1st, May 1st, maybe, and have all your parking for summer and make your money. But we need to be there so that we don't keep coming back here every council meeting because you don't want to see me either.
Ms. O'Brien, we love seeing you.
Thank you.
And in fact, everybody, but yes, we would like to see everybody come together and hopefully in a very near future.
I had hopes because the pickleball people came and they got what they wanted and the grinder pump people came and they got what they wanted. So I was really hoping at the start of public question, Mayor Sager was going to say, everyone here that's to speak to pay parking, we're pausing it and we're all going to meet in a group together and solve this problem. That's what I was hoping.
Thank you, Ms. O'Brien.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, could I have a motion to adjourn? Councillor Cassidy.
I recommend that the February 9th, 2026 regular council meeting be adjourned.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Second question, all in favor? Contrary carried. Thanks for joining us this evening.